If you are new here, this is the most beginner-friendly complete web development course, and these are some of the projects we will be covering in this course. I upload lots of lessons per week, so please subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss any of them. I respond promptly to comments, so if you want to ask or say something, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you missed any of the previous lessons, the link to the entire playlist is down in the description box. Let's get started. Welcome to another section. In this section, we are going to look at Git and GitHub. These are very important resources for a programmer. Git, as you can see here, is a version control system. It is used for tracking changes to your code. Okay, so you are working on a project, then you add something to the project, then you save it, you add something the next time, then you save it. It tracks all those changes so that if at any point you decide to go back to a previous build, okay, a previous one that you made, you can go back. This part is a little technical. I don't remember if I've ever went back to change and those things, but the most important thing about Git is that it helps you to save changes to your code and also to tag the changes that you make. You see what I mean as we go along. When you use Git, you create what you call a local repository. A repository is just like a folder or a place where you keep your files. Now, it usually goes alongside with an online repository management or online Git version, if you like. There are a number of them. There's Git Bucket and then there's GitHub. But my favorite and the most common one that virtually every programmer uses is GitHub. So we'll be looking at GitHub in this section as well. Now, GitHub is a wonderful platform. I always pray for those who created this platform actually. They did a great job. GitHub is an online, kind of like an online version of Git. So everything you do on Git, you can easily transfer to GitHub. Now, what I didn't mention about Git and what I find the main thing about Git is its ability to help developers to work together. So you have a number of developers working on a project. When you use Git, you can all push your changes. Okay, so this one will be working on this part, that one will be working on that part. You all push your changes onto the platform, and then the one in charge, okay, gets to decide which one stays. We'll go into details on how, not too much details because I don't want to get you confused at this point, but we'll look at how we do some of these things. What we are going to learn in this section mainly is how to use GitHub and Git to manage your code. First, we are going to look at some basic commands of Git, saving your code, taking your code online, and I also mentioned that I'll be teaching you how to host your code online for free. GitHub is one of the main ways of doing that. We'll learn another one along the way, maybe a few others. Okay, GitHub is one main way of doing that, and I've been using it a lot. After you've saved your changes and everything using Git locally, then you take it online to GitHub. On GitHub, you have your online repository. So they are directly connected. Your local repository, which you'll be working on directly, and when you are done, at any point in time, you can push it online. Now, when you push it online, it means it is not going to get lost. So if for some reason you lose your hard drive or you lose your computer or something, you still have all your code online, very safe. Okay, and from GitHub too, if you want it to go online so that everyone can see, let's say, the website that you've created, you can use GitHub to host your project and then everyone can see it. Also, if you want someone to help you on your project, you can give the person access to your GitHub and they can clone the project and make some changes and then push it back to your project, and then you look at what the changes they've made. If you like it, you let it stay in your code. Right? So it's a very wonderful platform for developers. I just love it. Whenever I create a project, once I finish creating the local file system, I go sometimes I actually create the GitHub repository of the project first before creating my local repository. So this is just a quick introduction of what Git and GitHub are. We'll be looking at some of the commands as we go along. I'll see you in the next lesson. Let us now go ahead and download our Git. Alright, so let's look at Mac first, okay? Then we look at Windows. For Mac, it's very simple. Most Macs will actually come with an inbuilt Git, right? But mine wasn't inbuilt, so I had to download it myself, and it may be the same for you. First, I want you to go to your terminal, okay? So you can press Command and then space bar, and then it will open this search bar for you, and then I want you to type terminal like that. Okay, then press press enter, and then it will open your terminal for you. Your terminal will definitely not look like this. I have customized it a bit, giving it some background image, which is this thing over here. Okay, yours will not look like this, it will look different, but it works the same, so no problem. And I want you to go ahead and type git dash version. This will let you know whether you have Git or not. So you press enter, and then you have this if you have the Git installed. So you have Git version 2.20 whatever. That is if you have Git installed. If you don't have it, they will give you some warning or something like that. And if you don't have it, you can type Git. This is how I downloaded it, and then you press enter. They'll tell you you don't have Git, do you want to download it and all that, and then you follow the direction they show you. That's one way of downloading it. We look at the second one when you look at how we download it for Windows as well. I'm sure you've seen this window over here before, and you've seen it in movies with this text and all that. It's actually a very powerful tool, and we looked at something like this before in our tips and tricks. If you've seen that video over there, we talked about the command line, where we said it's just an interface for controlling the computer. So over here you can navigate the computer, you can give certain commands, and it will all happen. We are going to be using this a lot. This is called, in Mac it is called the terminal. In Windows, when we download it, you realize it's the Git bash. Actually, you can use command prompt for most of these things, but you want to use the Git bash, and we download it for Windows. Okay, so if you've seen command prompt before, or you can open it on your machine if you are using Windows, and you see that it looks something like this. All right, so don't let this scare you. It's actually very simple. When we learn how to use it as we go along, it's very interesting actually. Now let's go ahead and download it for Windows. I want you to go to Google and then type download Git, and then press enter. So this, you should have this page over here. Click the first link. All right, and then it should take you to this platform over here. If you are using Mac, this is where you want to go, Mac OS X, and then you follow, and then you download. I'll go through how to do the download on the Windows version, and then I'm sure most of you would be using Windows, so let's go ahead. All right, so if you click directly, it will start your download. So it will bring you your file explorer, and then you give it a name over here, and then you choose the location over here. All right, whichever location you want to put it, and then you press save, and then it will start downloading it for you. Once it's done, you want to go ahead and install it. Once again, I can't go through the install again because I already have it, and this actually, I'm doing this Windows and I'm using a Mac, but I'm going to show you a few things during the installation. Okay, during your installation, you want to look out for these things. The normal installation that you know, there's actually nothing new, but I want to show you this. You get to this point where you have this coming up. When this comes up, I want you to go ahead and choose on the desktop. Okay, take this part over here so that you have the icon on the desktop. Okay, the icon will look something like this over here. Go ahead and take that one so that you have it on the desktop as well. And all right, getting to the end too, when you get to the end, you see this over here. I want you to untick this one, the view release notes. We don't want the notes, and then you click launch Git bash, and then it will launch your Git bash for you. All right, so other than the things that I've mentioned over here, everything else will be the default. Okay, so we just select the default, then next. If you see this one over here or that one, then you choose the ones that I mentioned that you should choose. All right, so once you've launched your Git bash, it will open a window that looks something like this for you. And of course, it won't look exactly like this. As I said, I've customized my own a bit. All right, but it will have something similar, and it will have it will be at a particular location. Okay, so this is where you currently are, and it might be a little confusing. Don't get confused, just follow along, and then everything will get clear. Now, there are a few commands that we need to learn, and let's go ahead and go through them. The first one I want to show you is the print working directly. Directory. All right, so you want to type pwd, which stands for print working directory, and then you press enter, and this should show you where you currently are. So on Windows, it will look something different. Okay, let me show you how it will look on Windows. On Windows, it will look something like this. If you type your pwd, it will show you that you are at C, users, and then user. Remember how we learned about going through your file system during HTML? It looks something similar, right? If you want to go back to your C directory, okay, or your D directory, this is how you do it. You want to type cd dot dot. Cd here means change directory. Now, when you do change directory, it means you are moving to a directory that is within, or a folder that is within the folder that we currently are. When I say directory, I mean a folder, okay? Or you want to move into a folder that is on the top, if you get me. Let me show you something here. If I do pwd over here, this is where I am. Okay, that means I am in the Mac folder. All right, I can list the items that I have here. So these are the folders that I have over here. Now I can do something like cd, which means change directory, and I want to go to say desktop. You can cd into any of these folders that you have here. So look at what you have and then cd into one of them, and I press enter. So now I'm in desktop, as you can see over here. I can also do list once again, and then it will show me the folder I have on the desktop, which is this busy code. What we've been doing is cd into a folder. Now we can cd back outside the folder, okay? So we can go up. If you want to go up, that means I want to go from the busy code folder. Sorry, I'm currently in the desktop. So I want to go from desktop, okay, back into this Mac. Well, let me go inside the busy code. All right, so we are now in the busy code folder. Let me list and show you we are actually there. So these are, if you remember, all these files that we created. We can cd or change directory back up into the desktop. To do that, we just do cd and then dot dot like this, and you press enter. You can see we are now back into the desktop. All right, if I do another cd and then dot dot, I will go back to the Mac where I first came from. That is one neat way of moving through your directories. So on Windows, you might have this issue. Your directory will be here, which is the users or the user folder, which you probably don't want to save your folders there. If you want to save your folders there or your projects there, you can use that one, no worries. But usually you'd like to save your project in, let's say, the D directory, right? So what you want to do is that you want to do cd dot dot once, and it should take you back to a folder app, which is the users folder. So you go from user to users folder, and then from there, if you do pwd over here, you see that you are now in the users folder, and then you want to do cd one more time, and then it will take you into the C folder. So we are now in the users. If you cd again back, you go into the C folder, and as you can see here, we are currently in the C folder. If you want to create your folder in your C directory or local disk C, when I say C, I mean local disk C, then you can go ahead and work here. I will show you how to create folders and all that. But if you want to go back and then you want to use your D, then you want to cd one more time. Okay, so if you cd one more time, you realize that you are in the root directory over here. So now you can go ahead and say cd D, and then it will take you into D, or you can continue and say cd into C, and then it will take you into C. I know this can be a little confusing at the start, but with a little practice, okay, if you get confused at any point, you can go online and do a quick search, and then you get all these commands and how we use them. Let me show you one shortcut to cding back, okay, the cd dot dot that we are doing. Let me quickly cd. Yeah, I can actually show you this way. So if you want to go from, as you can see, I have in my Mac folder, I have desktop, and in my desktop, as we went into it, I have the busy code folder. Okay, so instead of going into desktop, cd desktop, then cd busy code, then cd cding one after the other, I can go directly into the busy code. This is how I do it. I cd into the desktop, which I know is in this Mac folder, then I bring my slash. Okay, I know busy code is in the desktop, so I bring my slash busy code like this, then I press enter. Okay, if you get this error, it means that the folder that you are trying to cd into doesn't exist. Okay, so first I want to quickly check. All right. All right, so it turns out I actually made a mistake. That is why it didn't work. So as I said, when you get this error over here, then it means that you are trying to go into a folder that doesn't exist. So I typed two CDs, and that is why I didn't get it. I tried it again by typing cd desktop slash busy code and it worked, and I'm now in my busy code folder. Okay, so moving on. Now, if you have a lot of stuff over here, like we do right now, and you want to clear all of it, you just type clear and then you press enter, and then it will clear everything for you. And then you have a clean, so that we have it much clearer. All right. The next command that I want to show you is how to create folders and files. To create a folder, use the make directory command, or mkdir. All right. So I don't want to make a directory in my busy code folder right now. I want to cd outside into the desktop. I'm in the desktop right now, as you can see over here. Now I want to make a directory here. Once again, when I say directory, I mean a folder. So I go with the command mkdir, which means make directory. All right. And then you want to give a space, and then you want to give the name of the space. I want to say try. I'm saving the folder. I'm calling the folder trying. And then you press enter. And then, as you can see over here, created this folder for me. Now I can cd into the folder. Let me show you once again. I think I've already mentioned, which is this list. Okay, ls meaning list, which will show you everything you have on your current directory, which is desktop. So if I press enter, as you can see earlier, first when we did it, we had only busy code. Now we have trying as well, because you've created it. Now we can cd into trying like that. Press enter. We are now in trying, the trying folder. Let me show you how to create files over here. You want to do something like use the touch command, okay, like this, touch, and then you add the name of the file you want to. I can see something like try.html, and then I press enter. Now if I go into my trying folder, realize that we have the try.html file over here. All right. So I showed you earlier how to create the files and folders in VS Code directly. Right. This is one way that I actually used to use some time ago to create my file system whenever I was going to start a project. So if I see, let me cd back one more. Sorry, cd dot dot. Where am I right now? pwd. Okay, I went too I went too far back. Let me cd back into my Mac, and I want to cd to desktop. Okay, so I'm on the desktop once again. Some time ago, when I was going to create a project, I used this to create my file system. I don't know why I stopped. It was quite interesting to use it actually, so you can use it if you want. I want to go into my cd into my busy code folder, which is where I'm going to store the folder. All right, so then I can create the folder. Let me use ideas farms. Okay, so this, and remember I told you don't create folders with spaces between them. Okay, you can use hyphen, which is not welcomed sometimes, but mostly it will work. But I like to use the camel case, in where after the first word, every word that follows starts with capital. Okay, so you were supposed to make directory over here before the name. You want to press enter. Oh, okay. So we already have a folder called Ideas Farms, which we created for our project before. Okay, so I want to call this project my farm. We won't really use it, so let me just give it a name. Sorry. So we want to say make directory my farm. Now we've created my farm. So if I go to lists, you see that we have my farm over here as well. Let's cd into my farm, then press enter. So we are now in my farm. Okay. Of course, when you are going to create a project, your first file, a web app, of course, your first file will be the HTML file. So we want to say index.html. Okay, let me open the folder here so that we see what is actually going on. So I'll open the folder over here. Okay, so we have our folder here. So my farm has been created for us, but my index.html hasn't been created. Okay, let's see what's wrong. Okay, so I want to say index. Oh, sorry, touch. Remember, we use touch to create files. So touch index.html. There you go. Okay, so we have it created for us. The next one would be as folder, CSS folder. So CSS, and then want to create resources folder maybe. Then you can cd into the CSS folder. Let me open it from here so that you see how fast it's actually been created. Okay, so and then you see touch in the style.css. There you have it. All right, so that's how you navigate your files and your computer with Git. So next, we are going to look at how to use Git for version control, as we mentioned, how to track the progress of your files. All right, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Now, I want to look at how to use Git and GitHub to manage your project, how to use it to track your progress and all that. I want you to go ahead and create a GitHub account. So go to github.com and click this button over here, sign up to create an account. So username, I'll go with BusyCode. I'm going to create a whole new account for this course. All right. Okay, so they are saying someone has taken my BusyCode name. Play around and then find a proper name. Okay, so you want to make sure you've included all these important details. And if you look at the password here, there are some instructions here. You have to have at least 8 characters with a number and a lowercase. If you want to have only characters, then they must be at least 15 characters long. So make sure you have all those, you obey all these instructions. Okay, then you come down here and then you press verify. Okay, so they want you to do something here just to make sure that you are not a machine or a bot trying to enter their system. Okay. Okay, so once you've been able to solve their puzzle, then you want to click next. And you want to make sure you use a Gmail that actually works, okay, an email that works. So you come here where they are asking you what plan you want to use. I want to use the free plan, of course. Okay, then you want to choose free. There are a lot of almost all these features you get in the free. There are a lot of okay, so you want to choose your programming experience. This doesn't matter a lot. So of course, you guys are newbies, so you want to go to a little. All right, and you come down here, choose host a project. Okay, then just let's type languages over here, and then you go to complete setup. They would like you to verify your email address. That's why I said you have to make sure the email address you used is active and it's working. So you want to go into the email address, and then there will be a link there where you can click to verify your account. Okay, so in my case, I'm right here where I have the message they sent into my email. I want to click verify email address so that they would verify it for me, and most likely they will take me directly to GitHub to continue what I was doing before. Okay, so I'm here at GitHub. They take you directly to creating a repository. Okay, we've talked about what repository mean. Repository is just like a folder where you keep all your files. They want me to create a new repository. If you are ready to create a new repository, that's fine. But if you are not, then you can skip this part. But if you want to create a repository, we are going to host our ideas farm website that we created over here. So I'm going to show you how to do that so that you can also put yours online. I want to create the repository. Usually I want to give it the same name as the local one, the folder we created when we were creating the project, which was ideas farms. Usually I want to keep it the same. You can make it different, but I like to keep it so that there's uniformity. In the description, you can add some description if you want. You can skip it. And I want to say this is a website for a farm. You can skip it, and then you want to keep it public. You can initialize this repository with a README, but if you do this, it gets a little complex when you are trying to connect it with your local repository. So you want to skip it for now, and then you go ahead to create a repository. Okay, so you are on this page now. We will look at what this page does. For now, I want you to leave this page, don't touch it, and then let's go back into our the terminal or git bash, and then I'll show you what we'll be doing over there. Just minimize it or something, but don't touch it, don't close it. Back in our terminal or our git bash, you should have your icon on the desktop if you are using Windows. You want to first Okay, so you may be on the home or the root directory over here. What I want you to do is to find your way to the folder where we are going to work. I want you to find your way to the busy code folder we have here. So wherever you have yours, if you have it on the desktop, you can find your way. So try, if you have it in your D directory or C directory, use the methods we learned in the previous lesson and then find your way there. Right, but I want to show you a cool trick as well, how you navigate your way into a folder without using the terminal if the terminal is a bit confusing for you. It's very simple actually, and this works on Windows. If you are using Windows, go ahead to whichever folder you want to open the terminal on. In this case, we want to open the terminal on our Ideas Farms project. So I open my folder and I right click on the folder I want to open. So on Ideas Farms, you want to open terminal on your local disk D or local disk C, you can right click local disk D or local disk C, and then there will be a line here that says get bash here. Okay, get bash here. You want to press that one, and then it will open your terminal for you directly. And then you should open the terminal, and you should be at that directory direct if you get what I mean. All right, so you should be at whichever directory you want. I'll go back a bit. I'm now in my Mac folder. If you followed what I just showed you, you should be in your Ideas Farms directory directly. I will now go ahead into, why did I even come back? Because I'll be going back there. Okay, and then I want to go into my busy code, and I want to go into Ideas Farms. Remember, once again, I said do not use spaces, because for example, if you had used space over here, okay, Ideas Farms like this, and look at that, it's actually it will not be recognized. If you have a folder, it will recognize this as a separate thing and this as a separate command. Don't I don't know if you get me, but it's not a good idea. All right, so you want to say Ideas Farms. All right, so we are now in our Ideas Farms directory. Okay, first what we have to do is to configure Git. Okay, remember Git and GitHub are different things. Now we want to configure Git. So to configure Git, what I mean by configuring Git is to add your username and then your email to your Git, so that when you are connecting to GitHub, it can be very simple for you. This is how you do that. You don't have to be in your Ideas Farms folder or anything. You can be in any folder at all and it will work. You can be in the root and then it will still work. You want to say Git and then you say config and then you say -- global. Okay, if I didn't mention this, when you are creating, of course, you use your email to create your GitHub and the username that you use to create the GitHub. I want you to use the same username over here and the same email over here. You go to git config. Actually, before we do that, let me clear so that we see everything. So let me clear. All right, so you want to go to git and then you say config. You say -- global. And what this -- global means is that I want Git to be configured everywhere. Okay, not just in the Ideas Farms folder or not just in the current folder or the current directory, but everywhere. I'm using the term directory is the appropriate word to use, so by now you should know what it means. You add your global, it's very important. And then you say user.name. You add a space and then you type your username over here. My case was busy code, sorry, like this, and then you close it. Okay, as simple as that, and then you press enter, and that should set your username to busy code. Your case wouldn't be busy code, okay, so it will be your username, the name you chose for yourself. Okay, I hope you didn't choose busy code. All right, so and then you press enter. The next thing you want to do is to configure the email. So you go like user.email and then you add your email over here. You can put it in the apostrophe, you can neglect it. So you add your email. So in my case, it would have been busycodegh.gmail.com, like that. You can expand your window if it's too small. All right, like this, and then you want to press enter, and then it will configure it. It won't show anything. It will just take you to the next line. Okay. Okay, so once you've configured Git, the next thing to do is to initialize Git in your current directory. So in this project folder, you want to initialize Git. Let me show you something. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this command. I will show you what it does. So if I type this, you realize they say that not a Git repository or any of the parent directories or whatever. This is the part I'm interested in, not a Git repository. Meaning our current directory, which is ideas farms, is not a Git repository. So to make it a Git repository, we say git init, okay, which means initialize Git in this repository, and then you press enter. So then you have initialize empty Git repository, whatever, which means Git has now been created in your folder. And this Git is actually a folder that is created in your directory, but it is hidden by default. So you will not, mostly you will not see it. So as you can see, it has been initialized over here, but I actually can't see it because it is hidden by default. And that is because you never have to go inside there. You don't have to go in and change anything in that folder. It records your changes and tracks everything, but you don't really have to go there. If you have to change anything at all, you would go to your GitHub, which we'll be looking at how to connect very soon, which is the online version. It's simple over there. Right. We've initialized Git here, so we can now look at the status. Okay, so the command I typed earlier is git status. It's used to look at the current status of our project. So if I go to git status, they will tell me I'm on branch master. Okay, so we can create different branches. That is how different developers work together. We have the master branch, which is where we currently are. If you are doing a project, sometimes you don't want to make your changes directly into the master branch. So you create another branch, you name it whatever. In that branch, that's where you make your changes, or if you are working with someone else, so the person makes their changes and add it or post it to that branch. The term is push it to that branch. And then you look at that branch and look at the changes they've made. If it's nice and you like it, then you now merge it with your master branch. You don't really need these details. It's just by the way. If you have to know them, you learn them as we go along. All right. Now, as you can see, our files are red here, which means they haven't been committed. And I'll explain shortly what we mean by committed, as it said here. They are not being tracked. So to track them, first you have to stage them. You have to add them to the staging area. You use git add, and you can go ahead and type the name of the file you want to add, okay, like index.html. But mostly you won't do it this way. You want to add everything. So you use git add dot, which means add everything. So it will add all the changes that have been made. All right, and then you press enter. So now if I go to git status again, you see that everything has turned green. All right, which means that they are now being tracked. They are now being tracked, all right, but it says here that changes to be committed. They haven't been committed still. When I talk about commit is to, if I explain it in simple language, when you commit something, it means it has become a permanent change. And then you commit with a message. Let me show you how it works. So you go to get commits and then -m, which means message. So you are committing with a message, and then you open like that, and then this is where you put the message. The message can go like first commit, which means this is the first time I'm making a comment, or you can go like changed the background image or something, anything at all. Okay, so if you made, usually you name the commit with the change that you've made. Since this is our first commit, okay, I'm just going to keep it as first commit, and then you press enter. Right, so now all these things have been committed, all these files. Let's look at the status again. So you can see we are on branch master and there's nothing to commit. The working directory is clean. All right, so this all you need to do locally. Okay, let us now look at how you connect this local repository with the online repository that we've created over here. We want to use this command. Let me clear. It looks too all right. I can say use the command git, then you say remote add origin. This is the command you use. You only use this once when you are going to connect an online repository with a local repository. We call the online one the remote origin, okay, and then your local one will be the origin. Okay, we want to connect it with the remote repository, so you go like git remote add origin. The next line you need here is the URL to the remote repository, which we will find here, and that is why I asked you not to close this. This is the URL I'm talking about. How to do it is actually here. They show you how to do it. So this is what we are doing. We could have actually just copied this line. We've already typed this part, so we can just or once you've typed it over here, I wanted to show you how to do it. So you've typed it over here, you can come and copy this over here. So you click this button over here and then it will copy it for you. You click on your terminal and then Control V or Command V on Mac, and then you have it pasted right there, and then you press enter. If you get it clean like this, you don't get any warning, it means your local repository and your online repository have been connected successfully. Now the next thing, they've been connected all right, but the content or the stuff on your local repository are not online yet, so you have to push them online, push them from the local repository online. This is the command to do that. So we've been doing a lot of commands and you are probably confused by now a little if you haven't been memorizing the commands, but don't worry, you really actually don't need to memorize these commands necessarily. Memorizing them will make you faster, but if you want to do a project and you've forgotten them, you can just Google them. Git command for adding a remote repository, or git command for connecting with a remote repository, or git command for committing or anything. Okay, you want to say git push as they've directed here, git push and then dash u. This u means upstream, means that I want to push from local upstream, and you only need this u. We call them flags. Okay, so if you see anything with a dash dash means, well, it's just terminology. If you don't understand, don't worry. I can say that with the u flag. Okay, I flagged it with a u or something like that. It's not really necessary, just know how to do it. Right, so git push upstream, you only need this u flagging or this u on your first time when you are pushing to that repository. So when you just created the repository and you are pushing, you need this u, but subsequently when you are pushing, you don't need this. Okay, so I said git push upstream and then origin and then master. Okay, so I want to push from what we currently have into the master branch on the remote repository. Then I press enter. You need internet connection to do this part, okay? And even the connecting with the online repository, you need internet connection. Sorry if I haven't mentioned this. So I came across an issue, okay, which I thought was because of permissions. Usually Mac gives you the sudo permission, and it turns out it wasn't the sudo issue, it wasn't the permissions. So the issue was that, I already have my personal GitHub account, and that is what I configured my Git with globally. So while I was trying to push, it was as if I'm trying to push from my account to my busy code account, which I just created, which is not allowed. I told you before that when you have issues like this and you don't know how to go about them, I tried different methods, it didn't work. So I quickly went to Stack Overflow, as I mentioned to you guys. It's always very helpful. And let me show you the answer that seems to be working for me, which is this answer. So I looked at the one that had the most votes, as I showed you, and it turns out this one had a lot of votes. After entering this command, when I use the git push, it will now ask me for a username and then password. Then I'll enter the busy code username and password. Let's go ahead and try that. Git config and local credential dot helper, like this, and then like that. Right, so once I've entered this, I can take git push upstream origin master, and now they should ask me for my username. All right, so username, which is busy code gh, and then password. Now let's see if it works. Perfect. So now my pushing it's working. Thank you whoever answered me on Stack Overflow. It always works, guys. All right, this is my changes that are being pushed online. Okay, so you see this going on, and then after a while it will come back to this line once again, the line that's always there, which means it's done. All right, so my pushing is done, and you guys shouldn't have faced the same issue I faced, because you are not using double accounts, you are using one account, and it's the same account on GitHub as you use to configure your Git locally. All right, once this is done, you want to go back to your GitHub. We are still here. If I refresh this page right now, you see that all the files that we had locally will appear here. All right, let's see. Beautiful. There we have them. You can go through this if you want. These are all our files. Remember our index.html and all that. There they are. Now they are permanently available over there. You can get them anytime you want. And I'll show you how to create more repositories. Actually, it's very simple. So you just go to plus and then you can create new repository, and then you can go through everything that we just went through. Now I want to show you how to host your website online. I hope you're excited. I know you are excited about this because you've been waiting for this for a while now. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. I want you to go to this settings over here. So this will take you to the settings of your repository. So click settings. It will take you to this page and you have all these details. You can go through them, but this is where we are looking for GitHub pages. Okay, that is what we are looking for. You want to choose the source of your the code that you are going to host online. That is going to make up the website. For the source, you want to click here and you want to use the master branch. That's the branch where our files are currently. You can create other branches, of course. Oops. Okay, yes. Let me go back down. We've chosen the master branch. Now, as you can see over here, it says your site is ready to be published at HTTPS whatever. So this is the link where your site will be published. All right. In a few maybe seconds, minutes or something, it will. Let me refresh it and see if it has already happened. All right, there you have it. So your site is published. That means it is now published. So it takes only a few seconds and then your site is live. You can go to this link over here. You can click on it directly and then it will take you there. All right. Oh, no, don't close it. Let me open it in a new tab. Ta-da! Congratulations. You just hosted your first website. It's online now and everyone can see it. They just have to go and then type in BusyCode, whatever name you use, .github.io/ideasfarms. This is the same link for every repository that you create. So if you create another repository and then you call it a different name, you just change the name here, okay? So you just go to the address bar, you type BusyCode.gh. That's what you BusyCodeGh.github.io. This part is very important, and slash name of the repository. So you see the thing with hosting for free, if you host for free, you always have this weird name over here, github.io. You don't want that one to be in a professional or commercial website, right? So what we do is that you get your content hosted for you for free, so you can buy a domain name and that will take care of all this. That is a topic for another day, but for now you can use the GitHub pages and host your beautiful website online. Thank you. I will see you in the next lesson. Okay, so this is probably going to be the last lesson, not probably, this is going to be the last lesson on Git and GitHub. And in this lesson, first I want to go through the process of creating a repository with you one more time from scratch. And then second, I want to put all the files that we've used so far from the beginning, the intro to HTML file, the tourism HTML mini project, the intro to CSS files over there as well. Why I'm doing this is that I'm going to be putting all the files over there so that when you are following along with me and then you get to a point where your code doesn't seem to, or you find something wrong with your code and you want to compare, you can go ahead and go to the GitHub page for BusyCode for this course, and then you can find the file that you are looking for and then you can compare. All right, so this can serve as kind of like notes for you, so you can look back at it at any point in time at all. All right, what I'm going to do is that first, I want to go through the process of creating a new repository with you. Usually what I'll do is that I'll create the files locally, okay? So as I said, we already have the local files here. We have this one. So I want to put this one there. I want to put the tourism HTML project over there as well. First, you want to open your terminal and then you want to navigate to where you have this folder. All right, so for you on Windows, you can just right click the folder and then go to Git bash here. All right, so once you've opened your terminal, I have to navigate my way there. Okay, so I will cd into desktop. All right, and then I'll cd into BusyCode. All right, then finally I'll cd into tourism, which was mini HTML project. So if I list the items, you can see that we are actually over here and we have the files here. This is not yet a Git repository, so I want to initialize Git over here. That's the first thing to do. So you do Git init, and then it has now been initialized. You want to add all your files to the staging area, so you want to go git add dot. You can check the git status if you want. You realize that all our files have been added. Changes to be committed, so we have to commit. They have been added to the staging area and we have to commit them now. Okay, so you go like git commit, and then with a message, always commit with a message. First commit for tourism project. All right, okay, they've been committed now. Now I want to, of course, we can't push them to the online repository or the remote repository now because we don't even have the remote repository and we haven't connected it. So go ahead and log into your GitHub and then let's create the remote repository. So I have my GitHub over here. Open yours and then log in. If usually to once you've logged in once, whenever you open it will just take you directly to your area, okay, and then you don't have to log in again. All right, so this is where we are. You might find a window like this. It might be slightly different, most likely to be just like this, and you find all the repositories that you've created so far on the side here. So as you can see, this is the one we created the last time. Okay, so want to create a new repository, we go here, we press the new button. All right, I'm taking my time to show you how to actually use Git and GitHub very well because it's very, very important. One thing that I didn't mention that we'll be doing in this lesson is also how to use GitHub to learn or to, steal someone's code and learn from it, or learn from experts. All the biggest developers out there, the senior developers, the gurus and all, they all have repositories where they make projects and all that. So you can actually go into their projects. If they give you the link, you can go in and then you can download their code and then you can play around with it. If you know some of these people too, you can search over here, or even if you don't know anyone, you can just search using some keywords. If you know the person's repository name, all right, you can search. Okay, so we want to create a repository and then we want to name it tourism, and you can add the description and everything if you like. All right, so I want to go ahead and create the repository. Okay, so remember this page. So we want to get this line over here, git remote add origin, right? So let's copy that line and let's go and paste it in. All right, so Control C to copy, Control V to paste. All right, then we press enter. Okay, so our remote repository has been connected now. Now we want to push. Okay, remember the command git push upstream origin master. So for the first time, as I said, you need to use the U flag. So you say git push upstream and then origin master. All right, you press enter. Okay, so once again, I am still at my Dr. Dudu over here, so I have to use the trick that I used the last time that made it work. So yes, the trick was to type git config. All right, so I have to reconfigure it, and then I want to say local. You don't have to do this. Yours is probably directly connected. All right, so I go like credential stroke dot helper. All right, now I can git push upstream origin master. Okay, now they'll ask me for my username. What's going on over here? Did I make a mistake somewhere? Git config local credential. Oh, this line, I made a mistake in this line. There's supposed to be some apostrophes over here. Okay, so like this and then like that. Okay, now I can git push. Let me just press up and then it will give me this line. All right, now they have to ask me my username. All right, so I'll use the busy code gh username and then I'll enter the password. Okay, so it should push my changes to my remote repository now. All right, so my pushing is all done here. So as you can see over here, everything has been pushed to my remote repository. Now let's go back to my remote repository on GitHub. Let's refresh and see if all my files are now here. yeah, so they are all here, which means my repositories have been connected perfectly. So let's say I make some few changes in my code. All right, so let me just try see if I can make some changes. All right. All right, so I've opened my index.html in the tourism project over here. So I just want to make a little change and show you how I commit this change. I want to just change the title to, instead of tourism site, tourist sites in the world, I change it to best tourist sites in the world, and then I save it. All right, so I'll go back to my terminal. Okay, so if I go to get status, you realize that they'll tell me there has been a change in my index.html file. So I have to add this change to the staging area. All right, and then I have to commit the change with a message. Okay, so I want to say changed the title to best tourist sites in the world. All right, like that. So I want to check the status. Okay, now the next thing will be to push my changes. All right, so I told you that once you do it for the first time, the second time you don't have to connect with the online repository again because you've already done that. You want to connect directly to, you want to push directly. But remember that I have the issue of having double accounts, so I have to do the workaround that I used, this particular one, and then I can now git push origin master. You don't need the U flag again. All right. All right, so that is how you commit, or you commit a new change, or you track your progress. So we've just added the new change, and if you should go to the file online over here, if you should refresh. So you see this is the first commit we made, first commit for tourism project. Once it is done refreshing, you see that the new commit will also be mentioned over here. So this is the new commit we made, change the title to best tourist sites in the world. So you can see that it is tracking my changes. Now if I open this file over here, okay, they will actually show me all the changes that have happened, as you can see over here. This is where you can make all the changes. You want to go back to the old one, so you can see this is the old one and this is the new one. Okay, this is the one that was changed to this. In the red is the old one and in the green is the new one. All right, so quickly let me show you how you steal, or I like to use the word steal, steal someone's code and make it yours and learn from it and all that. Once you have the person's repository name. Okay, so you can search the person's repository over here. So whatever repository it is, you just search the repository over here and it should come up, or the person gives you a link to their GitHub account, so you can search them, and then or you click and then it takes you, and then you have all their repositories. Then you click the repository you are looking for, or they'll give you a link directly to that repository, right? So you want to click on the repository. All right, or if it takes you directly to the repository, you have this. Okay, over here we have this green button here that says clone or download. Okay, so you can just click here and then you can go to download zip. Now this will download a zip file for you. If you don't know a zip file, it's just like a folder. It's a lot of files that have been zipped into one file. So you just unzip it, you double click it, and then it will unzip for you, and it will create a folder with all the files inside for you. All right, that's the simplest way of doing it, but there's no fun in that. I like to use the command line way. You can do it this way, it's very fast, but you can copy this link over here. You copy it, and then you as you can see over here, they said clone or download. This is the download. Let's see how you do the cloning. All right, so I want to go back to my terminal. I want to clear this area. Okay, now I want to I want to cd back onto the desktop. Okay, this is how you cd back multiple levels. So you do cd dot dot slash dot dot slash, okay, dot dot again, just like that, and it will take you back. Now I went back too far, so I want to cd back into my Mac. Cd to desktop. All right, so this is where I want to clone. So I want to clone it on the desktop. So wherever you want to clone and put your folder, that's where you go to. So I want to get clone, and then I'll add the link. Okay, I'll paste it over here. Right, then I'll press enter, and then it will go ahead and clone it for me. So as you can see, the folder has already been created over here for me, and now it will put all the files inside for me. So that is cloning, and it can be very, very helpful. So you can just clone any project at all. So if you go to my repository or our repository, our busy code repository right now, you can clone every repository over there. I'll put the rest of the folders or the files that we've done, and anytime we do a new project or a new lesson and we create new files or new folder system, I'll actually put them on the GitHub repository, and then you can go and download them at any point in time. Okay, remember the name of the repository is busy code. Sorry, the name of the account is busy code gh. Alright, so I'll be naming our repositories with the same names we use for the folders that we create whilst we do the project. So you can go to the account, you can go to your account and then search for the repository name, for example, ideas farms or tourism, and then it should take you to, so it should suggest this busy code accounts for you, and then you want to go there and you get all the files over there. Alright.